Headphones and communication devices. Participants may carry a phone such as mounted on the bike handlebars or in an armband, but may not use the communication device of any type, including but not limited to cell phones, smartwatches, and two-way radios, in any distractive manner during the competition. A distractive manner includes, but is not limited to, making or receiving phone calls, sending or receiving text messages, playing music, using social media, taking photographs, or using in a one or two-way radio communication. Using any communication device in this manner during the competition may result in disqualification. And I don't see this a lot in swim, although some people do have their bone conduction things on. You cannot have that in swim. You cannot have it on the bike. You cannot have it on the run. I've actually stopped it. It's a stop and amend unless they do it repeatedly or ignore the official's order. So you can't play music. You can't use your phone. You can't stop and take photographs. Just do the race, get it done. There's plenty of time to take photographs at the end. Okay, on to the number 6, glass containers. Glass containers are prohibited. Bringing a glass container into the transition may result in disqualification. This is probably the fastest way to get your race over before you even start. Glass does break. Most transition zones are asphalt or some hard surface. There are some others, but glass is not allowed, because if you break a glass container in a transition zone, the race has to stop. That means everybody that's coming into the transition zone has to stop, and the time will be counted. They have to clean the glass up and ensure there is none left. And this is really difficult if the transition zone's already wet, and glass tends to hide in water. So do not bring glass containers in whatsoever. If they see you, they'll tell you, take it out. But if you don't, if they see you in there hanging out, if an official does, even a race director may disqualify you. They may just say, you're done, out of here. So do not bring a glass container in. There's plenty of other containers. Nobody cares what kind of container it is as long as it's not glass. Can't state that enough. Race numbers. Always lots of questions about race numbers. All athletes are required to wear race numbers at all times during the run. That means you have to have your bib on. If they're giving you a bib, you have to have it on. Numbers must be clearly visible at all times. Numbers may not be altered in any way that prevents clear identification. That means you can't hide it under your shirt. You can't fold it in a manner that it can't be identified. You can, a lot of times, and I've done this before, I've folded it up so you can see the number. I put the number on my legs so I'm not hitting it with my hands as it's attached to me. And so there's a lot of ways to do it. No official is going to bother you about your race number unless they can't read it. It has to be legible. If you get caught without a race number coming through the finish line, they will disqualify you right there and then. So you have to have it on. Your chip's going to identify you when you come through, and they're going to know that it's you, and they'll stop. Generally, somebody will stop you there. So it's just your bib number. You want to be identified, and you want those photographs to show you at the end, and they'll send you the link to those photographs. So wear your race number, and your race number needs to be here, down on your leg, someplace in the front. We want to be able to identify you. Also, one of my things about race numbers is the bib. I put a little piece of duct tape on the back of the hole before I attach it. That way it doesn't tear off. I've seen these things on the ground at Ironman when I officiate there, and I realize this is going to be a problem for that person later on, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've stopped people coming out of transition without a race number on and sent them back to get their bib. Not a big deal. I don't mind helping you out like that, But if you're going to go through the finish line without a race number, you're at the will of the people at the finish line. I'm not going to be there watching you. I've had people forget theirs, and they've taken their helmet number and pinned it on themselves. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let you do that because I know things happen. I've forgotten things going to races before. So just make sure you have some way to identify yourself. Also, if something happens to you, that's how they know who you are. And if you have any medical conditions when they transport you, that's your identification right there. All right, enough about that. Let's go on to number 8. Race number transferring. This is a good way to get yourself a suspension. Do not transfer your number to any other athlete or take a number from an athlete that is not competing. The penalty for doing so is disqualification and 1 year suspension from membership in USAT for transferring a number without race director's permission. If you want to transfer your number to somebody else, contact the race. Don't do it on your own. Don't sell it on Amazon or on eBay, or you're not going to sell it on Amazon. Don't sell it on eBay or off of Facebook to somebody in your triathlon group or running group. It's a good, like I said, it's a 1 year suspension. It's a disqualification. We spend a lot of money on these races, and when you get disqualified, you don't get a refund. All right, so there's a lot of rules. Look up the USAT rule book. Look up race conduct in the section for there. There's tons of rules, but about half of those apply to the race officials, and the other half probably apply to you. But there's also a lot of the other things in there that describe how a race is to be conducted, and legal equipment and illegal equipment. So you're going to find out a lot about what you can and can't wear just by reading the rules, what you can and can't ride. You have to, on your bike, you have to have a brake in the front or the back. So you can't really use a beach cruiser unless it has a front brake as well. So look up these rules, read them for yourself. There's not that many. I know it's going to seem overwhelming, but it's not too bad. All right, this is Brian from Cause Events. Hope to see you out there sometime. That's it for today. Bye. Hey, if this is helpful, like and subscribe to the channel, and it'll keep you up to date on any new videos I pop out when I do pop them out, and I tend to try to get 1 or 2 out a week. All right? Great.